I'm Joseph. This is Input English. Well, the weather broke and I'm outside. This is a parking area in the Sierra Azul open space. This is an open space managed by the county park system, and it is quite the place to come on a quiet Sunday. So today in the United States is Super Bowl Sunday. Now this is a very special day for different people for very different reasons. A lot of people are completely enamored by American football, and so they plan a big get-together, friends, family, cookout perhaps, big festivities, and they root for their team. This is not exactly the way I approach Super Bowl Sunday. Until this morning, I didn't know it was Super Bowl Sunday. I was completely unaware of it, but one of our viewers on this channel sent me a message on the Input English channel and explained that today was the Super Bowl. Really? How pleasant. Now, the reason I like Super Bowl Sunday is it makes things very quiet. If you want to go to a store, or if you want to go to a park, and you want to have a really lovely, quiet time, Super Bowl Sunday is a great time to do that. So I took advantage of that, and I've come to a park, and I'd like to see some things, and I am confident that it will not be overrun by people. Now, don't get me wrong, I like people. I just don't like crowds. There's a distinction there. People are people, but crowds of people can be a bit annoying. This is the first place to stop and talk to you on this journey, so I'm going to continue on my way. We're going to a place called Mount Umunhum. Now, Mount Umunhum was named in the Ohlone language. These are Native Americans who lived in this area for centuries, and Umunhum refers to hummingbirds. It's a sanctuary for hummingbirds. Now, Mount Umunhum has a more recent history related to the U.S. Department of Defense, because back during the Cold War there was a lot of concern about a sneak attack. Now, this wasn't completely unreasonable because the United States did experience a surprise attack back in World War II, and so our history not too many decades previously suggested that we should be vigilant for the potential of a surprise attack. So on Mount Umunhum, they placed a giant radar installation, and it was an early warning installation to detect incoming aircraft that could represent a threat. Now, the only thing left of that you can see is actually right over my shoulder, that hilltop. There is a block-shaped building, and that is the base of what used to be that radar installation. There was a very large fan-shaped rotating antenna for that radar, and that was dismantled years ago, decades ago. I actually never saw that part of this installation. But the blockhouse upon which it stood is very much present. That's where we're going. Now, this area, after the Air Force abandoned it, this area was closed. It was closed to the public, and the explanation we got was related to hazardous material. They stipulated that there was a problem with asbestos, PCBs from transformers, and some fuel storage tanks. So they needed to remediate all those hazardous wastes, and they hauled untold tons of material away as part of this cleanup. After the cleanup was done, the place was still closed. The government needed to make sure that it was actually safe. So they did a lot of work to prepare this area to be open to the public. But several years ago, it was open to the public, and I've been up here many times. Now, it turns out that when you come up to Mount Umunhum, or across the valley, perhaps you go to Mount Hamilton, you might want to choose the time that you go. So how do you choose? Well, you want good weather. The way I choose it is I want it right after a rain with unstable air. That is, I want it to be windy. Now, wind I can mitigate with my little dead cat feature on my microphone and a noise cancellation system in the microphone. So we're in good shape with wind noise, at least we have been to this point. Stable air frequently is very hazy, but unstable air is usually very clear. So what I want is right after a rainstorm, I want the rain to have pulled all the particulate matter out of the air. Then when cool, dry air fills in behind the rainstorm and the air is unstable, that's usually going to give you very nice viewing conditions. So today fits the bill. This is exactly what I wanted. It rained yesterday, most of the day. The clouds cleared, you can see it's blue skies and beautiful, and it's windy. Right here, it's pretty quiet because we're sheltered by trees. In a place that is not sheltered by trees, there is quite a breeze. So I'm going to stop right now, and the next stop will be further up as I see an opportunity to show you some things. I got to another logical stopping point. This is a parking lot for hikers, and there is a trailhead here to allow people to follow the various hiking trails that start here. Now, over my shoulder here, you can get a better look at that former radar installation on the peak of Mount Umunhum. We'll be up there shortly. Here we have the usual sign with the regulations, and at the bottom you can see that yellow sign, and that explains that this is a mountain lion habitat. And then it shows what to do if you encounter a mountain lion. This is indeed mountain lion habitat, and we occasionally see mountain lions. I have personally seen 3 of them in the wild. One of them was in a regional park, and it was fairly far away. We were on bicycle, and it wasn't really an issue. It was just a beautiful animal that we got to see. And then we have seen mountain lions in our own yard on 2 occasions. One, when the mountain lion had just dispatched a deer, and I heard the commotion outside, and so I shined a light from our deck down into the yard, and there stood a mountain lion with a very dead deer in his or her mouth. A moment later, the mountain lion and the corpse of the deer disappeared into the undergrowth silently. One of the things that surprised me about mountain lions is just how quiet they are. They move without making a sound for the most part. So I have attained the parking lot for Mount Umunhum. There is no parking at the very top, but there's a lot to see up there. So what they did was quite good. They built a very ample parking area and then a bunch of stairs dedicated to taking us up to the summit. So we're going to do just that. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to show you the panorama. Behind me is San Jose. In the distance, there is the San Francisco Bay, the south end of the San Francisco Bay. And I haven't checked to see what our altitude is or our height above sea level, but at some point I'm going to find out just how tall Mount Umunhum is and let you in on that secret. So behind me, you can see the vista of San Jose, the whole South Bay. So you can see that the former radar installation, that block house, that block-shaped building, is over my shoulder. You can't get access to it. It is locked up. Mount Umunhum is 3,485 feet tall, and we are pretty much at the summit. I'm as high as I could find a spot to stand. There are other peaks around us. There's a wonderful view as I pan slowly. It's an absolutely gorgeous view today. My hope was to get a good visibility day because of the recent rain and the windy conditions, and that wish came true. Behind me, we have a regional radar for weather, a weather radar installation, that dome, that sphere, and that's for various outlets to be able to inform people about radar evidence of weather conditions. So that's my 360 view. Also true to prediction, there are very few people up here. I think the Super Bowl is doing its job. I think it's magnetically pulling people away from places like this and putting them in front of televisions where they belong. I, for one, don't have a television, and I have no idea who's playing in the Super Bowl. Probably a couple of football teams, I would think. Actually, somebody told me Kansas City is involved. And I was also told that they were hoping for a three-peat. There's a word that somebody made up. Repeat is the second time, and a three-peat would be the third time. And that's just a made-up word, but it's commonly used. So I'm going to look around for some more things to show you, but this has been a very lovely visit to the top of Mount Umunhum, the place of the hummingbirds in the Ohlone language and tradition. This gives you an idea of just how big this beast is. This is one large building. It doesn't have any standard features on it, like windows from which you could infer how tall it is. You know, with an apartment building, you could count the number of floors and determine roughly how big that apartment building is. This thing has no features that allowed me to do that. So I'm just going to estimate that it's big. Okay, so I've found the highest part of this mountain, so I can report to you that I am currently standing at 3,485 feet above sea level. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.